Hey guys, today we will start reading some interesting stories from this wonderful book called Usborne Illustrated Stories from the Greek Myths. And the first story that we'll start reading today is called The Wooden Horse. And it has 7 chapters, and we will start with chapter 1, The Runaway Queen. Helen gazed out from the balcony of the royal palace. The passers-by below looked up in admiration. Like everyone who saw her, they thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen led a life of luxury, but she wasn't happy. Helen was married to King Menelaus of Sparta. He was proud of his lovely wife and told her so every day. "I want you to stay by my side forever," he would say. Helen never dared tell him how she felt. One day, a young prince named Paris came to the palace. He was from the city of Troy, across the Aegean Sea. He had come to arrange the release of his aunt, who was being held prisoner by the Greeks. When Paris met Helen, he fell madly in love. "Come back to Troy with me," he begged her at one moonlight night. Helen had fallen for Paris too, so she agreed to go with him. Menelaus was furious when he found out what had happened. His servant quivered in terror as he stomped around the throne room. "Paris will pay for this," he roared. "I don't care how long it takes. I'll get Helen back." He immediately organized a meeting of all the kings of Greece. Chapter 2: A Trojan War. Almost all the kings agreed to help bring Helen home. Only Odysseus, an experienced soldier and king of Ithaca, didn't want to go. He had had enough of fighting, so he pretended to be crazy. Menelaus quickly saw through his ruse, and Odysseus was forced to join the campaign whether he liked it or not. The next morning, Menelaus, Odysseus, and the other kings set sail with their army. Hundreds of ships crossed the sea to Troy. Many days later, the Greek ships reached the land. The soldiers waded ashore and stormed up the beach. The kings rode ahead of them in their golden chariots. Soon Troy was in their sights. "Now all we have to do is get inside," said Odysseus, who wanted to get home quickly. But Troy was well defended. Time and again the Greeks attacked a mighty Trojan citadel. But however hard they tried, they couldn't break in. The Trojans were fierce fighters who defended their stronghold from every attack. Despite this, the Greeks believed their enemy would crumble eventually. Little did they know just how long the war was set to last. Over 10 long years, 1,000 ships brought more soldiers across the Aegean Sea. The roads to Troy became worn down by the marching hordes. Many great warriors from both sides were killed as the years passed. But still, the Trojans remained trapped in their own city, and the Greeks were still stuck outside, having gained no ground at all. By now, the Greeks were beginning to give up. "We'll never get in," they cried. "The walls of Troy are impenetrable." Then one day, Odysseus had an idea. "It's pretty wild and it'll take a lot of nerve," he announced, "but we might just pull it off." Chapter 3: A Big Idea. The other Greek kings agreed to go along with the plan, so Odysseus took a large detachment of the army into the nearby forest and ordered them to work, felling trees. The Greek soldiers sawed the trees into planks and joined the planks together Piece by piece, Odysseus's ideas slowly took shape. After days of hard work, the Greek army had built a mighty, magnificent wooden horse. Odysseus admired the men's efforts. The massive beast was even more imposing than he'd dared hope. The other Greek kings were equally impressed at what had been achieved. Now to put my plan into action, declared Odysseus confidently. Chapter 4 Undercover. That night, the Greeks dragged the horse to the city gates. The huge creature was a colossal weight, but little by little the soldiers edged the result of all their hard work to the gates of Troy. Quietly now, whispered Odysseus, as they opened a small trap door in the horse's belly. Odysseus and some of his men climbed inside the hollow beast and closed the door behind them. One soldier, named Sinon, crouched down behind a nearby rock and waited. Meanwhile, King Menelaus and other Greeks went back to their ships and sailed out of sight. The first part of the plan was complete. The next morning, the Trojan guards couldn't believe their eyes when they looked outside. "The Greeks have gone," cried one soldier. "And there's a giant horse outside," gasped another. "What on earth is going on?" The Trojans ran out of the city and gazed in wonder at the new arrival. It was time for Sinon to come out of hiding. "Who are you?" asked the soldier, raising his spear. "And what's this?" "I ran away from the Greek army," lied Sinon. "They built the horse." "But what's it for?" asked the soldier, staring up incredulously at the strange creature. "It's a gift for the goddess Athene," explained Sinon, "to bring them luck on the trip home." "Maybe it will bring us luck too," said the Trojan soldier, and he ordered that it be brought inside. The troops hauled the creature into the city. Inside the wooden horse, Odysseus smiled to himself. Chapter 5 The Army Awakes. The Trojans spent all day preparing a party to commemorate the end of the war. It was 10 long years since they'd had anything so wonderful to celebrate. The whole of Troy packed the streets. There was feasting, dancing, and singing, and the celebrations lasted long into the night. It was early morning before the Trojans eventually went to bed. Now, at last, Sinon could get to work. He tiptoed across the square to the horse and tapped 3 times on its leg, quickly glancing back to make sure he hadn't woken the sleeping Trojans. Inside, Odysseus leapt up. "That's the signal," he whispered. He was ready to put the second part of his plan into action. Gently, he opened the trapdoor, lowered a rope ladder to the ground, and led his men out into the cool night air. Not a sound, man, breathed Odysseus to his troops. The Greek warriors scurried across the city as silently as they could. The guards at the gates were fast asleep. Slowly, the Greek soldiers lifted off the wooden bolt and heaved open the doors. The rest of the Greek army was waiting outside. "We're back as planned," said the leading soldier. "Right, man," said Odysseus. "Now we attack." Chapter 6 The Final Battle. The Greek kings and their armies stormed into the city. By the time the Trojans woke up and realized what was happening, it was too late. There was nothing to stop their enemies now. The Greek soldiers crashed through the streets and houses in search of Menelaus's wife. "Where's Helen?" they bellowed. "Give her up, you miserable Trojans!" The Greeks stormed from place to place, ransacking the city as they went. The soldiers grabbed as much Trojan treasure as they could carry and killed anyone who got in their way. Soon the city was ablaze, the flames lighting up a scene of chaos and terror. Paris rushed out to fight the Greeks, but realizing the Trojans were doomed to defeat, he ran for his life. He wasn't quick enough. An order from Menelaus sent an arrow flying through the air, and Paris fell to the ground. "Now, where's Helen?" roared Menelaus. Watching from above, Helen, who saw Paris, struck down. The young Trojan was dead, and there was no possible escape for her. "Perhaps Menelaus will throw me in prison," she thought anxiously, "or kill me like Paris. Any moment now, he'll find me." Chapter 7. Return to Greece. Sure enough, it wasn't long before Helen was captured and brought before her husband. She trembled with fear about what might happen next. Menelaus had been angry with his wife for 10 years. He had planned to punish her, but the moment he saw her face, his rage disappeared. "Welcome back, my love," he cried, his arms open wide. "You are forgiven." "Finally," he sighed, "my beautiful wife is back by my side. Our mission here is over." Helen was escorted back to the Greek ships, leaving the smoking ruins of Troy behind her. As dawn broke, Menelaus, Odysseus, and the rest of the Greek army set sail, their vessels weighed down by Trojan treasure. Helen didn't want to go back to Greece, but she had no choice. "At least I escaped with my life," she thought as she sailed away. Menelaus, meanwhile, stood on the deck a happy man. At long last he was reunited with his queen, whose beauty had launched 1,000 ships. That's the end of the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it,